Hi, welcome to Papa's Workshop. Today I'm making a new sign for my shop, and I'm using the Easel software with the Offsetter app and the combined feature. So let's get started today. To get started with this new project, I'm taking my PVC board that is 1/4 of an inch thick, and I'm ripping this down 10 inches wide. Now this material is very flexible, and to be able to lift up the one side and run it through the saw actually is a very safe way to do it because it keeps it right against the fence on the saw. The next step, I'm just cutting it to 20 inches long, and then once I get this cut, I'll just go ahead and spray paint it and set it aside until it dries. And while I'm doing that, I'll do the design work. To begin the discussion on how to do the combining of the text and the graphics, and also to put the cutout going around it, I want to just start out with just the regular logo. I type these individual letters. So if I highlight these, this is each individual letter. Now the first thing I want to do is I'm just going to go ahead and highlight everything and darken it for you so that you can see it easier. Now what I did is to do this logo, I went over and picked out a text, and I want a fairly complicated text that I could play with, and I chose Rye. And it comes into the system where it is with the fill. It also has these extra components that you see here. I did not want to carve those. Now what I did is brought this text in as each individual letter and then spaced them out. So what I wanted to be able to do, if I highlighted just this one letter, you can actually go in and select just that inner part. And when you select that inner part, you can actually click on this and cut it, and it eliminates it. That's the look that I actually wanted. Now I'm going to go ahead and leave that in here for the moment. Okay, and I did this on each of these letters. I went ahead and removed these individual components out of the center because I just thought that would be too busy. The same thing up here. When I looked at this, I could actually go in and just delete that little inner circle. It just made the graphic too busy. Same thing on this little inner circle here. See, I can take that and cut it and eliminate it. And that's how I wanted to be able to do it. Now I'm going to go ahead and put that back in. And there we go. It's back the way it was original. Now the question that people have is they want to put the border around this whole thing and to be able to do it where it'll cut it out. Now when you highlight this whole thing, you come over to the apps and you select the Offsetter app. Now what you get is each individual letter is cut out, and it will go around. Now if I go back and change this to 0.5 and let it calculate, now you see that it actually will do this. It has a little piece here, a couple little spots there, but that's actually doable. Now I could import this in and make it work, but there's one problem that you're going to have, is you need to be able to split this up into 2 work pieces. So what I'm going to do is highlight this whole thing, and I'm going to open up a new workpiece. Now what I've done is opened up a new workpiece, and I went ahead and took out all these little components that I did not want in there. But I want to be able to show you that these are still individual letters. Meaning that if I go ahead and put the circle around it, it's going to be very, very difficult to be able to carve and move and do what I need to do. So what I can do is just highlight this whole entire thing and hit combine. By hitting edit and combine, now I have the entire object. So when I do it, I can move everything. That's the important part. Now you can see right now at the 0.25, even though this is combined, it is still showing the individual letters. That's okay. Don't panic. We're going to change this to 0.5. And that's going to get it where now it covers everything. And I'm going to go ahead and import that in. This first one, I'm going to go ahead and get it out of the way for now. And I'm going to go ahead and center this one now to the material. The next thing I want to be able to do, I can come in and actually delete these little cutouts that I don't want in there. A lot of people don't realize that, but you can do that. And I'll go ahead and delete this one as well. There we go. Now, this one is on the center of the material. We'll confirm that. There we go. Alright, so what I want to be able to do is take this outside piece and we're going to Control C and we're going to bring this over into a brand new workpiece. Control V. Now we have it in its exact same position as what it was on the previous screen. I also said that I wanted to be able to carve this on using an 1/8 inch bit. So there I have that. I'm also going to change this and cut it on the inside. So it's going to cut a little bit closer to the letters, but that's going to give us plenty of room. I also want this to carve all the way through. 0.25 of an inch. Now, we'll go over here to this, and we will make sure that that's cutting all the way through. The one thing I do not want to do, because I'm using the glue and tape method, is use the tabs. So we'll turn the tabs off. So this one is actually ready to carve. So we're done. So let's go back over to the first one. Now at this previous screen, what we can do, if I just take this outer one and delete it, this would leave the outside and I'd be able to carve that. But the problem that you have is when you highlight everything and put it to the fill, it colors in the areas that you don't want to carve. The simplest solution is just to cut everything out of it totally. And remember that one that we had saved up here? It's still ready to go. So all I need to do is actually bring this down to center of the material, set the depth at the 0.06, and I'm ready to carve. So let's zoom back into this. And this one is perfectly centered, exactly where it needs to be, and I'm ready to carve. Now the last thing that we have to do is I want to come up here and change and set my two-stage carving. And to do that, you do the first bit. We're going to do the 1/8 inch up cup, and then we're going to come back and select the 1/16 of an inch bit for the up cut, and that will do it. So now we have both bits in place, and we come over to our second workpiece. We have our 1/8 inch bit. So now let's go and do some carving. Okay, what I'm going to do is put down a sacrificial board because I'm going to cut this all the way through. So I'm just going to use 3 pieces of the blue tape to be able to do this. And then what I'm going to do is put blue tape on this side as well. And with that done, we take some of the Starbond glue that I use all the time, and I'm just going to put a stream of it here, stream there, and a stream there. And that's really all that's necessary. In fact, that's probably more than necessary. with that on there, I'm just going to flip this over, set it down, align it to where I want it, hold it there for just about 30 seconds, and it'll be ready to go. To be able to attach this PVC board, I'm going to do the exact same thing. I'm just going to go ahead and put the blue tape down, just the way I did a moment ago. Again, a few drops of glue. Flip this over and set it right in place. Now I'm doing two-stage carving for this, and I'm going to be using this 1/8 inch upcut bit to do stage 1, and then the detail bit I will use a 1/16 inch upcut bit. So I'm going to go ahead and put this in a machine now. Now I'm using my XY0 position for home right down here in the bottom corner. To be able to do this carving, I'm actually running this at 80 inches per minute, and the total depth that I'm going is 0.06. This roughing pass is going to clear out all of the large areas to be able to save my time. Now, grand total amount of time is only about 15 minutes to be able to carve this roughing pass from start to finish. You'll notice as this is carving that some of the letters are not carved all the way through, such as the R, the S, and some of the other letters. That's actually okay. What that means is that this 1/8 inch bit was actually too wide to be able to carve into those particular areas. This will be solved when I switch over to the detail pass with the 1/16 inch bit. So the detail pass now is going to be done with this 1/16 upcut bit. And I'm going to go ahead and install that now and get this carving. Now I'm running the same speeds, the 80 inches per minute, and of course it's going to be at the same depth. All it's going to do is carve on the outside edges to be able to clean up and cut in the fine details that were not able to be done by the 1/8 inch bit. As the CNC machine is nearing the end of the carve, you can see the various letters that were unfinished before, now sharp and crisp and completely done. Now this is the outline that we're going to be cutting. This is going to be using an 1/8 inch bit to be able to carve this out. And you can see that this is in a separate workpiece, where on the right was the first workpiece that we carved, and then on the left is the actual cutout. And when you do the Z-probe on these various cuts, you want to make sure that the area that you're probing is completely clean. Reason being that little bit of dust and those particles will actually change the height and make your cut incorrect. Cutting out a sign this way, I think, adds a lot of interest. I think it's a lot more pleasing to the eye to be able to have it cut this way versus just a straight rectangle to cut the sign out. And this is carving this border again at the 80 inches per minute, and it is going to carve all the way through. And as I had mentioned earlier, I am not using tabs because I'm using the tape and the glue method to be able to cut this sign out. And this makes it where I don't have to do any cleanup whatsoever of the edges because it's going to cut all the way through. And with the sacrificial wasteboard in place, it makes it where I'm not worried about cutting into my actual wasteboard. Okay, it's time to go ahead and remove this now. And you can see this lifts up real easy. And now for this part, There we go. And there we have it. Now I'm going to go ahead and dust this off and get it ready to hang on the wall. This looks pretty good. Now to be able to attach this to the wall or to hang it off the wall, I'm just using the little sawtooth hanger because there's really no way that I can do anything else. So I'm just using a little bit of hot glue to be able to secure this. I'll put a little dab on each side. I've already got it marked where I want to put it. And I'm just going to stick it down. And just like that, when the glue dries, we'll be ready to hang it. And there's a new sign hanging in the shop. I think that looks good there. Hi everyone, thank you for watching my video today. If you like the video, please go ahead and hit the subscribe button down below and the little bell next to it so you'll be notified on the different videos that I upload. Also check out the videos over here to be able to stay up to date on the happenings in my shop. So again, thank you for watching my videos.